What do we do with our stress when we decide we want to be someone that doesn't drink alcohol and we've used alcohol to numb our stress for as long as we can remember? That is what we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to start with a story. How many of you has ever held space for someone in the moment of terror? Like being there for somebody when they were dying or they felt that they were dying? I have, right? Like I was a train crew supervisor in Bristol in the UK many years ago. And I was on duty one night when we had a derailment. A locomotive and a number of wagons in the train had derailed. Only this train had derailed on a viaduct. And the locomotive, can you hear my wife and daughter screaming downstairs? They're doing screaming yoga. The locomotive was hanging over the viaduct. And this train driver was stuck in his cab. The door was stuck and he couldn't get out. And I was his first port of call to say what happened. And I was talking to him and trying to keep him calm until people got to his aid. Okay. Now at the same time, I'm holding space for this guy and I'm listening to him and I'm trying to keep him calm and talk to him. I had a dashboard of phone numbers and they were lighting up like a Christmas tree. I still had control of the depot and I was responsible for the locomotives coming on the shed and the locomotives going off the shed. The engineers were still reporting to me and they would keep asking me to give them orders, and train drivers were still booking on at Bristol in person, and I had to give them their orders. And I had another 5 depots I was in charge in on the phone that I had to keep saying to this guy, I need to just quickly get on this phone to book other people on while I was just basically helping him through this crisis, but keep him running the railway. Because when a locomotive is hanging over a viaduct, the railway doesn't stop. Now, that job, that role of train crew supervisor, where you're effectively running the railway, okay, or your portion of the railway, to say that it was a stressful job feels like a vast understatement. A vast understatement, right? It was very, very stressful. But it didn't feel like the lion's tooth across the skull type of stress that people talk about, that is often branded around as stress. It felt good. I got a buzz out of that job. I got a buzz out of being stressed, and it brought the best out in me. And many years later, that paradigm around stress, viewing stress as a positive thing, helped me to be someone that doesn't drink alcohol. Okay? What is stress? Now, I like the definition of the psychologist Kelly McGonigal. She says stress arises when there's something that you care about. Okay? So in the example that I've given you, I really cared about my career. I really cared about it. And because I cared about it and it was important to me, I wanted to be the CEO of the rail company that I worked for. Because I really cared about it, stress showed up. And it was important that I rode that stress wave in the right way in order for me to reach CEO. If I didn't react to that stress in the right way, and there was another supervisor who used to work with me, his name was Roland, and he didn't look at stress and view the job like I did. He really suffered from stress and he didn't get spurred on by it. He got sick because of the job, right? If I viewed my job like Roland did, then eventually I would get sick. I could lose my job. And then I would get stuck in that boomerang of repercussions that comes with that. Shame, humiliation, embarrassment, loss of status, right? So I really cared about my job. But what else did I care about in life at that time? I cared about my wife and I cared about my son. But I still drank alcohol. And alcohol separated me from both of them, right? So we need to think about this. I had one way of viewing stress. And Roland, my friend, had another way of viewing stress, right? Now, I want to take you to the work of the psychologist Alia Crum. And she did a research project with hotel cleaners. So she got a group of hotel cleaners in one hotel and a group in another hotel. And she did a speech to them and a talk to show them that actually when they do their job, they do their daily tasks like vacuuming and taking the laundry and polishing and cleaning the toilets and all that kind of stuff. She showed them physically how much healthier they were as a result of doing that job. She explained to them that they were actually doing exercise. She showed them value in that task. And in one hotel, she erected posters everywhere that reminded the cleaners when they were doing their job that they were actually improving their health by doing these exercises. And in the other test group, in the other hotel, she didn't put any posters up. And after a period of time, I can't remember how long it was, maybe a month, she compared the health parameters for each group, and the group which had the posters and saw the posters on a daily basis, they had increased markers in health-wise across the board, far better and superior than the people who didn't have the posters, right? We're talking cardiovascular health, we're talking losing weight. So what Crum determined through her experiment is your expectations really influence the outcome, especially when you have a polarized position. Like, so in this case, the polarized position is I hate my job, or how can I make my job, or I love my job, right? I hate my job or I love my job, right? So if we think that cleaning hotel rooms sucks balls, it's going to suck balls. And we're going to have a decrease in health and well-being, mental health and physical health as a result of that. But if we believe that we really love our job and we're actually playing a greater role in the hotel scheme, and that we're losing weight and it's good for our cardiovascular health, then that is what will happen, right? In another research project, I think this was either Crum's work or McGonagall's work, carried out in America, over an 8-year study of people who put their hands up and said, yeah, I experience high levels of stress on a regular basis. Those that said they suffered from high levels of stress were 43% likelier to die earlier than those that didn't. But here's the thing, there was a key component. Of those people who experienced high levels of stress, the ones who were at risk of dying earlier, the 43%, they were the ones who really had a dim view of stress. They thought that stress was killing them. The people who experienced high levels of stress but didn't view stress as a bad thing, they outlived or were healthier than the group that experienced low stress. So get this. The parameter for success wasn't whether you experience high levels of stress or low levels of stress. The parameter for success, and the metric we're talking about here is health, mental health and physical health. The parameters for success is what you thought about the stress. So the evidence of these research studies show that stress alone doesn't kill. It's stress plus beliefs, okay? And the research team believed that 182,000 people, or 20,000 people a year, were dying prematurely because of this belief system, okay? Now that's really, really important and powerful stuff. Now Crum believed that stress makes you smarter, it makes you stronger, it makes you more successful, it helps you learn, it helps you grow, it helps you develop, it helps you grow courage, and it helps create compassion. So changing your view on stress can obviously make you healthier and happier. So in short, and this, I really want this to land in your body, you cannot create a meaningful life without stress. You cannot create a meaningful life without stress. Now let's tie a ribbon around this. Suppose we believe the dominant paradigm, and why shouldn't we? Because it's dominant, that stress is going to be bountiful on our journey to becoming someone that doesn't drink alcohol. And stress is going to be bountiful when we're sober. If we believe that story, that it's going to be a fucking nightmare if we try to stop drinking, and it's going to be a nightmare when we do drink, then that is what we will get. It will be a nightmare. And our health and our well-being will deteriorate as a result of that. In parallel, if we drink alcohol to circumvent the natural stress process, then not only are we building on the belief that stress is wrong, we wouldn't be drinking alcohol to circumvent it otherwise, but because we're circumventing it and we're not allowing it to play out as it should do, we ain't experiencing the beneficial aspects of stress, such as higher states of compassion, higher states of growth, higher states of happiness, higher states of grit and perseverance. It's not making us strong. We ain't getting those benefits. Now this is a classic case of choosing instant gratification, I need a drink now because I'm stressed, over long-term growth. And it's this mindset that trips people up all the time when it comes to being someone that doesn't drink alcohol. So if you're thinking of being someone that doesn't drink alcohol, you're thinking of cutting down, or you're thinking of stopping altogether, and you're thinking to yourself, what's the best way to manage stress? Because it will be a stressful event. The best way to manage it is to not avoid it. It's not to reduce it. And it certainly isn't to numb it with alcohol. The best thing to do with your stress, which will come, is to rethink it and is to embrace it. Let me know if that lands for you. Thank you very much.